say, look, to you, you know, we break the ice, we talk a little bit. It would be okay if I explain to you how I work. As soon as I say that, I bring up my agenda. You say yes. I simply take my pen out, I'm pointing at my agenda, I say, look, Mr. Smith, first thing we do is I have to really understand what your needs are. So I'm going to ask you a series of questions to discover your needs and challenges when it comes to real estate. When we're done with that, we're going to move into my marketing plan. And it's Nothnagle's plan on how we get houses sold and closed in today's market. From there, we're going to get up and preview the home. And this is where I need you to really share with me all the features and benefits of your house. So why do you love it? What makes your house a great place to live? Then we should be in a position to come back to the table here and go through pricing strategies. Basically, how can we position your property to maximize value for you? Then we should have enough information about each other to be able to make a mutual decision. If you like what I share with you this evening, all you got to do is tell me yes, I'll go to work for you. But if there's anything that bothers you, any concern whatsoever, please do me the favor of just saying no, I'm out of here. Is that fair enough? You guys can respond. So the first thing I want to do is get to understand your needs better. There's a series of questions here. So my first one is, why are you moving? Probe, talk, ask. Where are you moving to? Excuse me. When would you like to have your house sold and closed? What is driving your deadline? And these are the questions I teach everyone I consult with. These have to be in the listing presentation. What is the most important thing that you're looking for in the company that you hire? You've got to ask that. This is where they tell me really great things. It's where they start telling me things that my value proposition makes sense. Dan, I want someone who's going to communicate with me, keep me informed. You know, we've done this before. We didn't know what was going on. Guys, that just made that part of the presentation a piece of cake. What would it take for you to feel that I'm meeting that expectation for you? Now, at this point, I usually insert a trial close. Not usually, I always insert a trial close here. I'm going to teach you that later, so I'm not going to do it right now because I need to explain them and stuff. But here's where I would usually insert a trial close, which is testing their feelings and how they are about making the move tonight and actually getting on the market. So then from here, I go into my marketing plan. So the first thing I told you that we were going to do was not make a market plan. Excuse me, that's me. Now, I always start my listing presentation with the 5 key things it takes to get a house sold. I do this because I am so tired of being responsible for things out of my control. So I want sellers to have an agreement with me on the front end that there's, by the way, I made this presentation to Karen yesterday in her office, and I presented it to her. I didn't show it to her. And I took her through these 5 key things, and she was like, ooh, ooh. First thing, Mr. Smith, is price. It's the first element that I want to share with you. Price is what we hold your property out to the market at. It's the price we choose to try to maximize value. Let me ask you, as a seller, when we leave here this evening, who will be the ultimate decider? It's good English. Who will ultimately decide the price on your property? And then they'll go, because they think I'm going to say me. They go, well, me. Of course. You guys will have the ultimate final decision on the price that the home's put out. So understand that price is your responsibility. Second thing are terms. Now, terms can enhance how quickly the home sells based on the marketplace. And same as price, when it comes to terms, I'm going to educate you, consult with you, so you're fully informed. But if terms are things like how the property is shown, what's being offered, any special offers to a buyer when it comes to purchasing your home, when it comes to those things, who again is going to be ultimately in charge of whether or not they're offered? And they say, well, us. So now there's 2 things. The third one is condition of your property. And this one's simple. When a buyer walks through the door, who ultimately is in charge of the condition of the home whenever they walk through the house? And they go, well, we are. So, Mr. Smith, at this point, there are 5 things that make a house sell. How many are you responsible for right now? And they look at me and they're like, we're like, 3. Fourth one is the location. Now, I want you to view location as desirability. How desirable is it to live where you've chosen to live here? What made you choose to live in this neighborhood? And I hear things like access to shopping, arts, to schools. They'll tell me why. So you found this a valuable location, desirable to you because of schools, because of this. They say yes. Who gets to decide if this is still valuable? And I have to walk them through this a little bit. And finally they'll say, well, a buyer. I go, just one buyer? And they'll go, no, all buyers. I say, can we agree that as a herd, the buyers decide this is a hot spot to live, this is a hot spot to live, and when that happens, it becomes a more desirable place. Can we agree with that? And they go, yes. And I go, who controls all the buyers? What would you say to that? Who controls the buyers? Does anyone control all the buyers? No. So there is no control of the desirability of your location. All we can do is monitor it and be aware of it. We can't change it. That's the one that gets you a lot. How many times have you had somebody say, but if my house was there, I could get 250. But your house ain't there. Your house is here.
We can ask their input of what do you like about the location?
No, I don't want to know what they like because they have no... Here's the thing, guys, be careful here. I don't care what they think about the location anymore. I only care why they chose it. What was their motivation? And now I say, that is the desirability. I use that mindset. I don't care from there because they have no influence on the current desirability. People could hate this place now. People could never want to live here again now, which happens in areas. And we got to be able to be honest about that because I can't get you 350 in an area that no one wants to live in. So your desire about the location doesn't matter anymore because you already own it. I have to get the desirability of the people that don't.
Not only that, if someone's been there for 20 or 25 years, it might have been a rural road with very little traffic 20 years ago, and now it's just busted out around them. And now the location really is detrimental.
Right, and they're leaving because of that.
And they know it.
Right. So, can you see I'm creating an image as we go through here? Then I get to the last one. The fifth thing is exposure, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. And exposure falls squarely on me. My job is to take your price, your terms, and your condition and expose it to every agent, buyer, and living person that has a desire to be in this location. Does that make sense? Now, I'm a little more direct than some like to be in presenting. I go further here and say, so can I count on you to give me the right price, terms, and condition after I consult with you on those areas? So when I put our $1 million marketing campaign to work for you, we have a successful sale. I ask for them to say yes. And when they say yes to me, when I get to these other areas and they won't give me the right terms, they won't clean it up, they won't price it right, I go back that was their responsibility. It changes the whole dynamic of how I get a saleable listing because I've made them responsible, where they like to make you responsible for those things. True or false? That last one? I just simply ask, can I count on you to give me the right price, terms, and conditions? And then I share with them, after I've consulted with you so you know the market, so that when I put now guys, if you sit down with Nothnagle ownership, leading RE in Chicago, and you add up the money that they spend to get exposure, to drive web traffic, to do the things that they do, you have a $1 million campaign.
Well beyond.
Well beyond.
DNC alone is
Multi-million-dollar campaign. You're not lying. So then I say, so when I put our multi-million-dollar campaign to work for you, we have a success. Now, what is the job of the agent? What is the job of the agent? Say it again. What is the job of the agent? Say it, mean it for me. Stop trying to do the other jobs. Make the seller do their job. You're a SWAT. Create the environment. Persuade. Nudge. Demand that they do their job. So you're not stuck with a property that your problem is something out of your control. So when I get done explaining that, I ask, do you have any questions? No. And I go, so, exposure is the most important element that you should be focused on when you hire someone to represent you. To get maximum exposure, I'm going to start by sharing with you a little history of the company that you're about to do business with. Back in 1948, Mr. Nothnagle was an innovator. He understood the importance of exposure. He was the first to create the Gallery of Homes, which brought together all the listings that were available in the photo, in the photo gallery, so buyers could collect on the spot and be able to look at homes. But we didn't stop there. Nothnagle was still on the cutting edge of technology to make sure that you get maximum exposure. Let me show you this one. Now, let me stop here. I'm doing a demonstration presentation. It would be very hard for me to do a value proposition with 50 people. Okay? So we will break these down later. But before or after, when I put up one of these pages, I'm going to ask questions. Okay? I might say this. I talk about Nothnagle, and I might ask this now. Mr. Smith, in your opinion, what are some effective ways to reach the local market to get maximum exposure? Will they share with me some of their favorites? Local market, what might they say when we just talked about local market?
Newspaper.
Newspaper, what else? Sign. What else? Brochures, things like that, right? So then when I turn the page, I start talking about, well, one way to get maximum exposure is through that local market. And we have an amazing staff that helps us create the most interactive and innovative flyers, brochures, postcards, online marketing to make sure locally here that we reach the people thinking about buying houses. But it doesn't stop there. You had mentioned to me print. Let me ask you, Mr. Smith, what % of adults in Rochester still use either the print newspaper or the online newspaper to receive their information? That's what they'll say. I don't know. But if you had to guess, what would you think? And they think that newspaper is real low now. So they'll say 10, 20%. You guys know what your number is? It's rated in presentation. 78% of adults in Rochester use, or 75, whatever it is. I said 70 is the number I just went. So we got 7 out of 10 adults go there for news, information, and real estate. So that's where we are. Ask a question before you turn over. What's the first thing, before I turn to this page, what's the first thing that you notice, or what's the first thing that causes you to notice a home's for sale in your neighborhood? Have you ever seen a real estate sign and you weren't sure it was really real estate? You guys drive up and really read it to make sure it was real estate. Has that ever happened to you? Yeah. Have you ever seen a Nothnagle sign? Any doubt in your mind that that's a house for sale? Those are some things I would ask if you're value proposition. Someone we get focused on. Come on, guys, your colors stand out. I drive down the road and I go, oh, there's one. Oh, there's one. You got competitors I drive by and go, oh, that's a real estate. We got the same thing in Florida. We got people that have really fallen in love with looking like swimming pool companies. Serious. You can drive through Florida, through my neighborhood, and you have to stop. Is that someone putting a swimming pool in, or is that a house for sale? then there's companies that have very dynamic signs that is no doubt is. So I'm going to make a big deal about this. Remember, what did the Olympian teach us? We only need what? One thing. Could be that. So then I go here. Now maybe before I go here, I might value prop television. Because you guys have got a television thing, right? Now you think everybody knows it's there, but everybody doesn't know it's there. And you know why everybody doesn't know it's there? Because not everybody needs to buy and sell a house at one time, so therefore they don't care about it. They might flip through it and even see it, but not register that it's you, because they're not buying or selling. So now I'm there. So what would be a good question to get their mind on television? Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, let me just ask you a question. What do you think is the most effective media outlet, if there is no limitation on price, to demonstrate something to the public in masses? What is the best media? They might say the internet. I go, the internet doesn't cost anything. If money wasn't an object, where's the best media for you? They don't go there, I might do this. Just ask, you know, have you ever watched Food Network? They get into Food Network. I go, who's your favorite? Bobby Flay. Ha, love Bobby. You ever watch his Saturday show where he does the cooking out of? Yes. Ever make any of those recipes? Yes. Isn't it cool you can watch that and really understand? Wouldn't it be cool if your house could be like that? See where I'm going? And then they might go, that's right, you guys have. Or you can do it this way. And another thing that may happen is, okay, give me something. Blah, 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 blah. So then I talk about that. Actually, if I could get my guys, if I give this to Buddy, I'd say, give me 2 graphics. Because I really don't want to show both of these at the same time. Does that make sense to everybody? I might want to value prop these separately. I think the sign is an incredible winning difference for you guys on a local standpoint. I was in Atlanta, Georgia, a couple weeks ago, having a drink in the. I have a drink a lot, don't I? Having a drink in the Sky Club for Delta, and people were talking about real estate. And I came over and got talking to them, and they weren't from here, but I mentioned Nothnagle. Because I said, I'm traveling, what are you doing? I said, actually, I do work in real estate. I said, I'm actually heading to Rochester to work with Nothnagle. And a guy sitting there goes, Nothnagle, I know that. And he started talking about you guys. Doesn't live here anymore, but knew you guys. And lit up like a Christmas tree when I said your name. You guys have something that really matters, that you need to make sure is a winning difference, not just an afterthought. So I talk about this. Then I do this. But Mr. and Mrs. Smith, the local market is just half the deal. We got to consider beyond the borders too. Let me ask you this question. Do you know the #1 country that buys real estate in Rochester? Does anyone care about the #1 country? You know that for a fact, or you're guessing?
I know, for the U.S.
I challenge that.
Locally, a lot of people from Great Britain are buying something.
China.
China. You should know what it is for your city. I know what it is for ours. Because what happens is, people will go, well, I don't know, or they'll assume it's someone and they're wrong. And it's cool when you can say, no, it's actually blah, blah, blah. And then I smile at them and say, and you want to make sure that you hire a company that knows that. Now, watch this. Before I get into that, I do this. Now, local is one thing, folks, but we've got to be able to reach beyond your borders and reach people beyond Rochester. Let me ask you a question. Who would you prefer buy your home? Somebody locally here or from out of town? 99.9% of the time they come back and tell me, I don't care. And I go, so that doesn't, you don't have a preference there. They go, no. And I go, well, are you looking for a fast sale? What do they usually say to me?
Yes.
Are you looking for the top dollar?
Yes.
Are you looking for a smooth transaction, someone ready to go that's not going to mess things up? So let me ask it again. Who do you think is more likely to be in that position? Somebody that's local here or or someone who's been transferred into town. Now what do they say? Out of town. Every time they go, shoot, the out of town person. Then they tell you why. They go, yeah, we were transferred one time. We're ready to go. You got someone help. Da, 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 da. So now I got them focused on beyond the borders. And then I asked them, where do you think the number one inbound traffic is for you from beyond the borders here? And then I tell them where it's coming from. And I do the little nod. I want to make sure your hire company actually knows that. And then I get into, I know that in your presentation, you guys touted your 4.5 million visits a year, as a lot of them are local, but I'm going to use this as my international. So worldwide exposure, so beyond on the borders, making sure that we are in the places where the buyers are coming from. And to make it even more effective, we've affiliated ourselves with an organization that brings local expertise, but a global reach and connection. And that is LeadingRE. Leading Real Estate Companies of the World is the largest group of professional real estate agents in the world. We have over 3,500 offices in 50 countries that we are networked with to help get you maximum exposure. And as you can see from this graph, far and away, LeadingRE is more business than any other group of real estate companies. Maybe try a tie behind it. Is that the kind of exposure you wanted beyond the borders of Rochester?
I have a question.
Yes.
Where's an easy place to find the data? Say, I saw a lot in Canandaigua. How could I easily find which country is coming to Canandaigua?
I got mine from our chamber. I don't know if your chamber tracks that. Does anybody belong to the chamber or involved?
The board tracks that.
Who does it?
The board.
Your board tracks that.
Board
Okay.
tracks it?
Now remember, Orlando is a tourist attraction. So our chamber has all the numbers for us when it comes to visits, people who buy, second home people. So we have that worked out in our chamber. Okay? Now, so I've gone, think about it, guys. We've done their responsibility. We've talked about our agenda. We've talked about local marketing. We've talked about beyond the borders. And if before this slide, I had a question slide. Any questions? And then I go into this. The next slide says, let's preview the home. So now I'm at the next part of the agenda. So we get up and we preview the home. We come back and sit down. I click the slide and it says pricing strategies. And I go into my interactive pricing. And then when I'm done with that, I click to this slide and I say, so if you're looking for an organization to get you a faster sale, more money, with less hassle, I'd love to have your business. Let's get started. But I get a listing with that. But I have their attention. So there are a lot more things I could have talked about that maybe if I did it effectively, what I did have, I wouldn't need. I mean, we still have this, which I want to add. We still have the for sale line, which, by the way, the for sale line is best done this way. Before I bring that up, ask, have you ever wanted information you just couldn't get it, it frustrated you? Yeah. Maybe you see something online and so you click on things and you can't find it. Maybe you drive by a store and there's a sale or a sign and you call and no one knows what's going on. Has that ever happened? Yeah. Doesn't that frustrate you? Yeah. So I would like to know that that would never happen if you do business with us. When a buyer drives by your house and wants information at 3 in the morning, do they want to wait till the next day and hope they remember, or do they want to have it? Now, you should have a sample one and say, dial this number. Not your phone dialing, their phone dialing. So they dial a number, they listen, there's information. I go, push 1. They push 1, what happens to my phone? It rings. I go, and if it wasn't 3 in the morning and they wanted more information, how would you like it to happen that fast? It's that kind of speed and accuracy you're looking for in the agent type. As this is presenting, questions, demonstration, tie down. Not preach, preach, preach. Visual. Questions on what I've done? Yes?
It works really well. I did a listing appointment where the house across the street was for sale by a competitor. The number on the sign, I was at the house at 6:30. I called the number on the sign across the street, got a recording please leave your contact information, we'll get back to you tomorrow. They didn't like that.
Okay? How many people feel that they could come up, if we just did some role play after the break, and use my slides and present? How many people would be comfortable with that? Okay, 1, 2. How many people, and be honest with me, because if you don't care, if you're driving and don't care, it's good. How many people would like to be able to walk up here right now and flip through those things and be able to present? Okay. Does anybody think what I just did would not be received by a seller? And if so, share with me why. Anybody? Okay. Any questions?